monopoly of KEMSA as the sole provider of medical supplies to county governments.
The governors say they have not received sample kits and testing kits and are worried now that coronavirus has spread to the community level.
We therefore urge the Ministry of Health and Parliament to urgently review or suspend the law to allow county government to procure essential medical supplies requirement from other suppliers.
This as the devolved units pump 5 billion shillings towards the emergency fund initiative. All the 47 county governments have prepared isolation facilities equipped with 3,156 beds. According to the COG, counties have also trained 9,701 health workers both at the county and sub-county level. Farmers are also set to benefit from 9,000 metric tons of fertilizer and additional 10,060 metric tons of assorted seeds. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
The government is undertaking massive screening of commuters along the Kisumu-Siaya road after 2 cases of coronavirus were reported in Siaya. Acting Director General in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Patrick Amoth, who led a team from the Ministry of Health to Siaya, warned that those found flouting quarantine rules will be forced to stay even longer in isolation as the government scales up measures to try and contain the spread of the coronavirus. Achola Simon with that report.
A day after a second case of the coronavirus was confirmed in Siaya County, the government has stepped up efforts to ensure any possible spread is nipped in the bud.
Our mission here today is basically a mission of support and solidarity with the people of Siaya County in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic disease.
Our healthcare workers are actually our frontline soldiers, so to speak, not just for COVID, but for any other case management. They have always been there. And therefore, we will do everything. But if you do not motivate them, then whatever you're doing will come to nothing.
The government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna, accompanied by the Director General of Health and other high-ranking health officials, toured the county on a fact-finding mission to assess the preparedness already in place. Oguna revealed that the county will be amongst those to be given preference when mass testing kicks off. Oguna urging the youth and innovators to take the lead in the fight against the spread of the virus as they form the bigger chunk of the country's population.
Bodaboda wamejaa hapa, wengi ni vijana. Tunapoangalia kuna idadi kubwa tu hawana face masks. Idadi kubwa tu haweki social distancing. Lakini wako na viongozi hapo. Ina maana kwamba county commissioner anapokosa kuona basi ni kitu cha kawaida tu. Hapana. Vijana lazima muingie ndani kwa vita hivi ili tuweze kushinda vita hivi. Bila vijana kuingia ndani na kina mama pia itakuwa ni vigumu sana kuweza kushinda vita hivi.
They warned that the government will not hesitate to institute tough measures for those flouting quarantine rules.
Where people have failed to honor the covenant of self-quarantine or mandatory quarantine by maintaining distance, by not staying in their rooms, by not washing hands, we will not hesitate to even extend it to 28 days or 36 days to be able to protect Kenyan people. We will go the whole hog. If you don't want to comply, we will force you to comply.
70 to 80% of those that have tested positive for corona have come from the quarantine facilities. And if you can begin to appreciate and even imagine what could have happened is these people could have been let to mingle with the rest of the community. It would have been something that we could not even be talking about now. And therefore, as we look at what is not happening to them, we must also begin to ask ourselves, what would have happened if this had not happened to them?
Achola Simon, reporting for Channel 1 News from Siaya County.
The government has scaled up efforts to increase access to water supply to informal settlements in the Nairobi metropolis. Water and Sanitation Cabinet Secretary Cecily Kariuki says drilling and equipping of 20 boreholes will be complete by the end of April as part of efforts by the government to contain any possible spread of the global pandemic in Kenya's informal settlements. As the government marshaled resources to combat the spread of the coronavirus, Kenyans living in informal settlements still remain badly exposed to the pandemic. Insufficient water supply is negating efforts to entrench personal hygiene and safe social distancing. To bridge this gap, the government has embarked on a 200 million shilling project to ensure taps never run dry for an additional 150,000 residents living in Nairobi's slum areas.
We have many boreholes in Nairobi today, going to over 5,000. But it has become evident with the C-19, the COVID-19, it is important we upscale access to water because, like the Minister of Health has told us every day since the pandemic broke out, it is important that if we are not able to sanitize our hands, that we use clean water with soap.
The targeted areas include Mukuru, Kayole, Mathare, Korogosho, Kibra, Kawangware, Dandora, Gatina, Kahawa Kiwanja, Riruta, among other areas.
A lot in terms of responding to the current pandemic will count for how we as the citizens behave, and therefore to ask and urge all of us to observe the directives that are routinely being given by the minister responsible for health in terms of social distancing, in terms of personal hygiene, in terms of presenting yourself in the event that you get any of the flu symptoms to the closest health worker.
Kilifi Deputy Governor Gideon Saburi will spend one more night in police custody after the Mombasa Law Courts adjourned the ruling on his bail application to Wednesday. The prosecution team has in the meanwhile urged the court to detain Saburi for 10 more days to conclude investigations, arguing that if released, the Deputy Governor is likely to intimidate witnesses, claiming some have already received some threats.
The prosecution team led by Edgar Mlamala had applied affidavit to detain the deputy governor for 10 more days, an application that prompted the principal magistrate Elvis Micheka to adjourn the case until tomorrow to give his ruling. Prosecution team want Saburi denied bond, arguing that by releasing him will put witnesses at risk, claiming some have already been threatened. The defense team, led by senior counsel George Kithi, argued that there was no need for detaining their client at the Port Police since they had already tabled their report before the court. The Kithi-led team further wants Saburi released on bond as the prosecution team continue with the investigations. The deputy governor was charged for willingly exposing himself in public while suffering an infectious disease without taking proper precautions, contrary to Section 28A of the Public Health Act, Cap 242, Laws of Kenya. He has since pleaded not guilty. Since the charge is new to the courts, the then magistrate Rita Amwai had ordered that she be furnished with much detailed medical information to assist in her ruling. And on Wednesday, Principal Magistrate Elvis Micheka adjourned the case until tomorrow, when he will give his ruling.
I'll reserve my ruling for tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
Reporting for Channel 1 News from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
The government has officially published the standard operating procedure for law enforcement officers at the roadblocks in the designated COVID-19 infected areas of Nairobi Metropolitan, Mombasa, Kilifi, and Kwale. The guidelines published by the National Multi-Agency Command Center COVID-19 outlines the do's and don'ts of operations by law enforcers in designated points in the declared COVID-19 areas. This as 54 people were put under mandatory quarantine after they were nabbed by police for flouting government directive on social distancing.
Efforts to combat the COVID-19 pandemic has taken a notch higher, with the government formally publishing the standard operating procedures, which the law enforcement officers manning roadblocks in the designated COVID-19 infected areas of Nairobi Metropolitan area of Mombasa, Kilifi, and Kwale should adhere to. The procedures, which were still in operation, have seen elements of disharmony and misunderstanding at the roadblocks, with incidents of confrontation between security personnel and citizens during its enforcement. The regulations curtails movement of persons into and out of the COVID-19 infected areas of Nairobi Metropolitan, Mombasa, Kwale, and Kilifi. The regulations, however, gives commercial vehicles transporting farm produce and lawful cargo, ambulances transporting patients to health facilities, a leeway at the roadblocks. Private cars and public transport vehicles are prohibited from entering or leaving the COVID-19 infected areas. According to the published standard operating procedures, no person shall be exempted from the rules except by authority of the Cabinet Secretary for Health certified in writing. Meanwhile, police officers in Maragua constituency of Murang'a County have taken 54 people to a 14 days mandatory quarantine after they were found flouting government directive of social distancing. The 54 were being ferried in a canter and a pickup vehicle from Mugoiri in Kiharu constituency.
Sasa hao kwa sababu wameshikwa, sisi tutawapeleka quarantine ama pahali penye tutawazuia kwa wiki 2 weeks at their own cost. Ili wakuwe examples ya wengine ili watu wajue kufuata sheria.
Tunahimiza watu wasiwe wanakaribiana zaidi. Lakini tumeshangaa asubuhi ya leo maafisa hawa ambao tunafurahi sana, tunashukuru, wameweza kushika lori hiyo ikiwa na zaidi ya watu 50 ndani, na vile vile kwa na maski zile ambazo kwa sasa tunabana nyuso zetu, hasa midomo na mapua kwa sababu ya kuweza kuzuia ugonjwa huu.
At Maragua police station, the people arrested mitigated their case that they were only casual laborers in search for daily bread and appeal for the police to release them. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Timothy Kipnusu.
Now, tributes continue trickling in following the death of renowned journalist, author and scholar Dr. Ken Walibora Waliaula. The late Walibora died in a road accident along the Landis Road in Nairobi. President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto are among those who sent messages of condolences eulogizing the late Walibora. Until his untimely death, he was a lecturer at the Riara University. Waliaula previously worked at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation and later the Nation Media Group.
Family and friends had reported Dr. Ken Walibora Waliaula as missing since Friday last week. Unconfirmed reports says he was knocked down by a matatu on Landis Road on Friday and rushed to Kenyatta National Hospital and unfortunately succumbed to injuries. President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto led the nation in mourning the late Walibora. In his condolence message, the head of state described him as a polished broadcaster and a prolific writer whose work will continue to inspire future generations. On his part, Deputy President William Ruto termed Dr. Walibora as a prolific journalist with a charming personality and humor. Dr. Ken Waliaula Walibora was born on 6 January 1964 in Baraki, Bungoma County. His family later moved to Kitale.
Ken Walibora was born in Kitale, but he described himself as a child of two worlds, that he was both an urban child and a country boy. That's how he would actually want to describe himself.
A trained teacher, he taught Kiswahili in high school between 1985 and 1986. He later worked as a probation officer at the Ministry of Home Affairs for 8 years before joining the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, as a Kiswahili radio news anchor, news editor and translator.
Mpendo mtazamaji, ni fahari yangu mimi Ken Walibora, mtoto mwalimu, kukuletea kwa mara nyingine Sema Nami.
Ken namkumbuka alikuwa ni mtu mzuri sana, tumewahi kufanya kazi naye katika chumba cha habari KBC, na alikuwa ni mtu anapenda kazi yake, alikuwa ni mtu anapenda watu, na alikuwa mtu mpole sana. Hata wakati mnaposhirikiana naye katika shughuli za kikazi, ushauri kwa njia ile ambayo ni nzuri kabisa.
Nitamkumbuka Ken Walibora kwa tabia yake ya utulivu na upole, pamoja na kwamba alikuwa gunge, alikuwa waria, alikuwa galacha katika tanzu hii ya fasihi pamoja na Kiswahili kwa ujumla, lakini huku haikumuona akijipiga na kujitanua vifua.
Alikuwa ni mtu ambaye iwapo una matatizo yoyote kikazi, unakwenda kwake, unamwambia bana mimi, ukimfuata ukienda kwake kumueleza kwamba mimi nina matatizo, maana mimi bado niko mchanga, anakusaidia na kuelekeza njia ambayo ni bora zaidi. Hata wewe mwenyewe baadaye unakaa chini unaona kwamba kweli alichokuelezea kilikuwa kina manufaa sana na kimekujenga, na vile vile pia kwa kufanya labda ufikie upeo ambao kila mmoja alikuwa anatarajia labda ungeweza kufikia.
Dr. Walibora was also a renowned author with over 40 titles to his name, including Siku Njema, a Swahili fiction novel published in 1996, which was a secondary school set book between 1997 and 2003, propelling him to fame. His other notable literary works include Kufa Kuzikana, Nasikia Sauti ya Mama, Ndoto ya Amerika, and Kidagaa Kimemwozea.
Alitolea mchango wake. Maneno kama vile constituency ni Profesa Ken Walibora ambaye alikuja na jina eneo bunge. Amechangia lugha ya Kiswahili kwa mapana na maarifu yake.
Of course, when I brought him on the literature program at KBC, the first thing that he told me said that, you know what, Hainga, this is home. I'm so proud that I'm home, because everybody actually began their careers in journalism, especially broadcast journalism here at KBC. And he was very proud to call KBC home, even though he had worked with these other media houses, but he always felt that KBC was home.
At one time, Dr. Walibora was a lecturer in the United States, rising to the post of associate professor in the Department of African Languages and Literature at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Until his untimely death, he was a lecturer at the Riara University School of International Relations and Diplomacy and director of Global and Language Studies Center. He will also be remembered for his contribution in, among others, books reviews and translating the Kenya's draft constitution into Kiswahili language. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. Let's take a look at some politics now. A section of Jubilee party officials have accused the party Secretary General Raphael Tuju and the national chairman Nelson Zuya of engaging in what they claim is a political con game. This follows claims that they have orchestrated a coup in the party by replacing the National Management Committee officials. Jubilee Party Deputy Secretary General Caleb Kositan, who visited the office of the Registrar of Political Parties, said there are no documents to support the purported changes.
Jubilee Party Deputy Secretary General Caleb Kositanyi, in the company of two other Jubilee members, on Wednesday visited the Registrar of Political Parties office to seek clarification on a purported gazettement of intention to change the National Management Committee of the Jubilee Party officials.
We saw a gazette notice purporting that there was a meeting and there were minutes that were filed, which are the documents that the registrar used to gazette the change or the addition of new members to the National Management Committee of the Jubilee Party. At least she should have availed those documents at the minimum.
Without a backup of the minutes of the meeting that was supposed to have agreed on those changes. And that is what we have asked her for. And she has replied to Raphael Tuju, says, I do not have the documents. I gazetted without the requisite documents. I do not have any minutes.
I will be doing another letter today that will be delivered here for her to furnish me with the details of the documents she used that were filed by Tuju and the chairman, that the documents she used for her to gazette, that necessitated her to gazette the gazette notice for change of leadership in the Jubilee Party.
The leaders claim that there is a scheme by some individuals to institute a coup in the party.
We are calling on the Secretary General and the chairman. While all this saga is going on, they should step aside from their positions so that we have serious investigations going on in Jubilee and we get to the bottom of this matter. And we want to know where those minutes are, because it will help us to sort out political conmanship in our political parties.
Na sasa watu wengi wako na wasiwasi, watu ya Jubilee popote walipo, lakini tungetaka wajue ukweli imepatikana na tutafuatilia kwa makini.
The Registrar of Parties, however, says the party had submitted all the documents required in law, and that is why she sought the opinion from the party members. But Tuju, in a statement, defended his move, saying what was filed by the party were normal yearly returns that are required by law in terms of changes of office bearers, signatories to the accounts, and any other material issues that the register may require by law. The registrar had given those in the party 7 days to register their opinion on the intended changes, which lapses Wednesday. Kamchemenza for Channel 1 News.
2 people alleged to be part of a notorious gang have been burned to death, while another one is nursing serious injuries following a mob justice incident at Chandumba Market in Vihiga County. The 3 are said to have been part of a gang that has been harassing residents in counties of Vihiga and Kakamega. Residents say complaints made to security agents have been fruitless, prompting them to take the law into their own hands. Area Chief Julius Liduhiza confirmed the incident, warning residents against engaging in such heinous acts.
Huwezi fanya maendeleo. Wizi wamekuwa wengi. Ni hasa sana ni watoto wadogo vijana ndio wanasumbua Chandumba. Chandumba hata unaogopesha kuleta mali hata kwa duka. Huwezi fanya biashara.
Na kunywa bangi, wanavuta bangi na kunywa pombe na kufanya uhalifu wa kukata watu. Tutazidi kufanya hivyo hadi kijiji yetu ya Ndumba ikuwe safi kabisa bila watu. Ingawaje tukilala tupate tunalala kama milango iko wazi, hatutakuwa na waizi. Tutamaliza wote kuanzia leo.
Tunaomba wale vijana ambao wanazurura mtaani bila kufanya kazi yao ya mikono yao, wanatuibia kuku, wanaiba. Ukiweka kitu hapo unapata wameiba. Tunaomba serikali iweze kutia mkazo vile imeweza kuweka kwa corona, mambo ya wizi ishe. Na ukipatikana unaiba, tutakuwa tunakutoa nyumba kwa nyumba tukikumalizia. Tumechukua sheria sisi wenyewe.
Thank you very much for keeping us company. Channel 1 News Hour takes a very short break. We still have plenty more lined up for you. This is business as well as sports.
Remember, ukitaka to stay safe from coronavirus, lazima ufuate hizi steps. 1. Osha mikono kila time for 20 seconds, hata unaweza imba happy birthday mara 2. 2. Usishike uso, macho na mapua yako especially kama hujaosha mikono. 3. Ukitaka kucough, utumie tissue alafu utupe kwa dustbin ama ucough kwa elbow. 4. Avoid kuenda mahali kuna watu wengi ama kusalimia mtu na kuhug mtu. In case usikie uko mgonjwa, please ambia parents wako ama guardians wako. Let's all stay safe.
Next on.
And now we want to talk about marriage.
I'm a counseling psychologist. I'm also a trainer, and I practice as a therapist as well.
Which is an organization that speaks to marriages and the family as a whole. But I'm also a pastor and a counseling psychologist.
What is this that you want in a man, the Mr. Right? Don't expect him to be right when you're seated in your own cocoon and you're not doing anything to perfect.
Once you're in the box, and then you're settled, then you say I do and put that ring. With this ring I thee wed. There's that tendency that we now return to default setting, and then we feel like we were played or gypped,
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Never say never, Mr. Just pray that you don't fall into temptation.
Hey, Wasi Solomon. That is the 3rd time you said pray today. Are you okay?
Of course I'm okay. Why wouldn't time be?
Guys, nowadays we have so many unfaithful people. So for my money to be safe, I must be one of the officials.
Ati nini? Over my bonding, that can never happen.
What are you guys talking about?
Looks like teacher is worried about his health. He's not sure he will live long enough to witness something extraordinary he'll be doing in the future.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
From an international view, Kenya is a low forest cover country, considering that it has less than 10% of total land area classified as forest, as recommended by the United Nations. But a new plan by the government seeks to push these to about 10% by the year 2022.
We continue to pursue through other systems that we may not acknowledge here, that we want forest back. And any individual who is claiming to own any public forest, they must be warned that we are gunning for that land.
This week on Inside Government, we're joined by Chief Conservator of Forest, Edward Kabasa, to discuss what is the way forward in increasing the land and the forest coverage in Kenya by the year 2022.
It's 1:30. Thank you very much for keeping us company. This is Channel 1 News Hour. My name is Edward Kabasa. Joyce Ngugi has been sworn in as Deputy Governor of Kiambu County in a low-key ceremony presided over by Kiambu High Court Judge Christine Wanjiku. The new Deputy Governor pledged to work harmoniously with Governor James Nyoro and the entire county executive to gain the confidence of Kiambu residents.
Joyce Ngugi took oath of office as Deputy Governor of Kiambu County, stepping into the shoes of Governor James Nyoro, who took over the county leadership following the impeachment of Fernand Waititu over gross misconduct, abuse of power and corruption allegations. Wanjiku promised to work closely with Governor Nyoro to ensure the county government execute its mandate as stipulated in the Constitution of Kenya.
I intend with the governor to deploy a complementary approach and not a competing approach when rendering services to the residents of Kiambu County.
The new deputy governor also vowed to explore ways of creating a more favorable trading environment that will attract investors to Kiambu County and at the same time create employment for thousands of youth. Until her appointment, Wanjiku was chairperson of the National Council for Children's Services.
Public trust comes first. I intend to diligently work with our able governor to restore and advance the public trust the people of Kiambu have in their county government.
Still in Kiambu County, a road leading to Ruiru town was cut off after the banks of Mukuyu River burst following heavy rains. Operations at the Ruiru law courts were disrupted and the local NG-CDF offices could not be accessed as water from the river spilled over and flooded the compounds after an overnight downpour. The Ruiru-Kwamaiko road was also cut off and suppliers of farm produce from the rural villages as well as boda-boda operators were left stranded for hours. Area of Member Parliament Simon Kingara blamed a Chinese contractor for creating a makeshift diversion bridge that could not hold the raging flood waters.
Daraja ya kudumu imekaa zaidi ya mwaka moja. Kwa hivyo kila mara kukinyesha tunashuhudia janga hili, na ni ombi langu kwa contractor hasa Ministry of Transport, kwa sababu hawa watu wamekaa sana hawamalizi daraja na hii itatuletea shida. Hii barabara ndio tegemeo pekee ya kuingiza chakula na maziwa huku Ruiru. Saa hii hakuna hata gari hata moja usiku imeleta chakula.
Deputy County Commissioner Geoffrey Kithinji asked motorists to be cautious while using the road as residents and boda-boda operators appealed to the government to open the new bridge to avert a tragedy. Fiona Shuru for Channel 1.
Traders at Kasowo Market are yet to embrace social distancing, one of the measures put by the government to curb the spread of COVID-19. The traders were recently removed from Kibuye Market as a way of fighting coronavirus infections, but the situation has not assisted much. This and more stories in News making headlines in the counties.
The traders at Kasowa Market say the situation at the new location is pathetic than their former Kibuye Market. They are now appealing to the county government of Kisumu to decongest the market in order to reduce the risk of spread of COVID-19.
Kibuye ilikuwa na nafasi, tulikuwa tunapata hewa mzuri, na hapa tumefinyana.
Well, business community in Embu town have cried foul following increased cases of breakage and burglary during curfew hours. Embu West OCPD Charles Kinywa said police are investigating how the thieves were taking advantage of the curfew hours to terrorize the businesses community in the area.
Nilipokunja nilikuta ni ukweli imefunjwa, imefagiliwa kila kitu. Pombe zote zimekunywa, TV zimeng'olewa.
Well, the Precious Kids Center in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County that hosts children living with disabilities says it has been hard for them to fully comply with government directives on fighting coronavirus. Samantha Hammock, director of the facility, said they are facing many challenges due to lack of donor support, which mainly comes from the USA battling the coronavirus pandemic. Elsewhere, a police and a Kilifi County security officer who were enforcing the COVID-19 safety measures at BP area in Malindi sustained injuries after they were attacked by irate boda operators. Malindi Sub-County Police Commander Vitalis Otieno confirmed the incident, saying the officers were taken to hospital for treatment and later discharged.
We managed to arrest several motorcyclists who are doing that offense. And we also managed to detain several motorcycles who are violating the rules concerning corona and the traffic rules.
Moving on, a section of the clergy in Narok have donated 15 bales of maize flour to Narok County Commissioner to be donated to the less fortunate who are most affected by COVID-19 epidemic. The donations, mainly foodstuffs, will be given to the most vulnerable in the society.
Kuna wale wako kwa slums, labda wale wengine ambao wanakutembelea hapa, uko na ufahamu zaidi kuelewa kuna wale wako na shida.
In Kirinyaga, Area County Commissioner Jim Joka has revealed that Criminal Investigation Department has launched investigation into an arson attack against Mutira Ward MCA David Kinywa Wangui homestead. Joka also revealed that investigating officers are currently investigating death threats issued to 4 other members of the County Assembly by unknown assailants. Finally, the late African Legio Maria sect Pope Romanus Ogembo was laid to rest at the church's headquarters at Godkweru, Migori County. According to his successor, Pope Lawrence Ochieng Kalul, the cleric had to be buried within the church's compound in accordance with Legio Maria doctrines. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Suleiman Yeri.
With the rapid spread of COVID-19 disease across the globe, several guidelines on how to contain the pandemic have emerged. The precautions include use of masks, regular hand washing, as well as avoiding mass gatherings. But how huge does a meeting or event need to be for it to be considered a mass gathering?
An event counts as a mass gathering if the number of people it brings together is so large that it has the potential to strain the planning and response resources of the health system in the community where it takes place. You need to consider the location and duration of the event as well as the number of participants. For example, if the event takes place over several days in a small island state where the capacity of the health system is quite limited, then even the event with just a few thousand participants could place a big strain on the health system and then be considered a mass gathering event. Conversely, if the event is held in a big city in a country with a large, well-resourced health system and lasts just a few hours, the event may not constitute as a mass gathering event.
KBC, in collaboration with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, is broadcasting enhanced out-of-class learning on radio, television, and online. Catch the lessons every weekday on KBC Channel 1 from 2 to 4 p.m., on KBC English Service and 15 FM from 9:15 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Radio Taifa from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. KBC English Service, Radio Taifa, and 15 FM are also available countrywide on the free-to-air Signet digital TV platform, or log on to www.kbc.co.ke for live streaming, or download the KBC Online app on Google Play Store. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, ensuring learning no matter what.
Let's take a look at some business news. The commercialization of GMO cotton is set to start in October this year after the government procured 16 metric tons of an assortment of hybrid Bt cotton seeds in preparation for the rollout. Agriculture Chief Administrative Secretary Ann Nyaga says the seeds procured from multinational seed companies will undergo final environmental assessment before being distributed to farmers.
Despite Kenya having the potential to produce 260,000 bales of cotton, the country produces a meager 10,000 bales of lint annually against an annual consumption average of 110,000 bales of lint. In a bid to spur the textile and apparel industry, late last year the cabinet approved commercialization of GMO cotton. Agriculture Chief Administrative Secretary Ann Nyaga says commercialization of the GMO variety is earmarked for October this year after meeting all safety requirements.
These demonstration sites will be used for teaching farmers and extension service providers from all over the country. So that full commercialization will be done during the short rains, that is October, November.
In preparation for the rollout, the government has started procuring hybrid GMO cotton seeds from multinationals, with the first batch set to be distributed to farmers in 720 demonstration sites.
We are working closely with the respective county governments to identify farmers who will be given seed.
The Agriculture Chief Administrative Secretary says all Bt cotton seeds procured from international companies will undergo a mandatory environment assessment before being released to farmers.
We also took the seeds through the National Biosafety Authority for the safety measures and got the approvals for the approvals to plant the Bt cotton.
The goal of KALRO in this was to perform the national performance trial. That is to test the suitability of the technology in our country. This was done successfully, and what came out is that the materials which have been developed by Mahiko and Bayer are actually superior.
The government targets to increase cotton farmers from the current 30,000 to 200,000 farmers over the next 3 years. Benson Joba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Safaricom, through its M-Pesa and Safaricom Foundation, has committed 200 million shillings towards the provision of food and nutrition to Kenyans in need as part of efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Safaricom CEO Peter Ndegwa says the company is supporting Kenya through the evolving situation around the COVID-19 pandemic. Here are details of this and other stories in our local business news roundup.
Staffed by 2 analysts trained in laboratory management system and water quality and safety planning, the water testing lab is equipped with advanced technology to analyze physical and chemical parameters of the water as well as microbiological aspects of water samples collected from different sections of Tatu City supply chain. Officials say the lab, which is operated by Tatu City Water and Sanitation Company, allows them to monitor the quality of water as part of process control and ensure that residents receive the highest quality of drinking water in line with the standards. Experts have projected that by the year 2050, about 60% of humans will be living in cities. Meanwhile, Ecobank Kenya Limited has donated 10 million shillings towards the fight of the spread and impact of the coronavirus in Kenya. The money will be channeled through the recently formed COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund. Ecobank's donation follows the government's appeal to individuals, corporate entities, development partners, and multinational institutions to support the COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund, formed to spearhead mobilization of resources for an emergency response towards containing the spread, effects, and impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in Kenya. Ecobank Kenya Regional Executive for Central, Eastern, and South Africa, Sheikh Travali, lauded efforts by the government, emergency response teams, and all frontline staff across the country working hard to prevent the spread of the deadly virus and preserve lives. Finally, insurance brokerage firm Minet Kenya has partnered with SASA Doctor Virtual Medical Clinic to launch a telemedicine solution aimed at providing online live video medical consultation services for patients. This comes in the wake of the government's directive to maintain social distancing as one of the ways of curbing the spread of COVID-19.
Let's now cross our borders. Oil prices fell significantly as fears of weaker demand gripped the market. The West Texas Intermediate for May delivery shed $2.30 to settle at $20.11 a barrel, while the benchmark Brent crude for June delivery decreased $2.14 to close at $29.60 a barrel. Here are details of this and other stories from across the globe.
Investors continued to worry about a demand hit due to travel restrictions and trade disruptions resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. More than 1.9 million confirmed COVID-19 cases have been reported globally, with 125,196 deaths. Experts warned of a potential global supply glut of crude despite the OPEC's history production cuts on Sunday to reduce output by 9.7 million barrels per day for May and June after 4 days of talks. According to an OPEC statement on the deal, from July through the end of 2020, the cut will decrease to 7.7 million BPD and will then be followed by an adjustment of 5.8 million BPD for another 16 months till the end of April 2020. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund says global financial markets have been heavily impacted by COVID-19 crisis and that the global economy is on track to contract by 3% in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. IMF Financial Counselor Tobias Adrian said that it is important to take aggressive policy measures to get through the crisis. He said that overall he expects interest rates and inflation to stay low for an extended period. Adrian says banks are generally better prepared to deal with the fallout from the pandemic than before the financial crisis. Even if the pandemic will be brought under control at the end of the year, the IMF only foresees a partial recovery in 2021. Finally, the founder and boss of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, has seen his wealth swell by $24 billion after soaring demand for online shopping sent the firm's share price to a new high. Bezos now has a fortune of $138 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, cementing his position as the world's richest man. Amazon has benefited from surging internet shopping by people forced to stay at home during the COVID-19 outbreak. The firm has been recruiting thousands of workers to cope with demand. With millions now working from home, online meeting site Zoom has seen founder Eric Yuan's fortune more than double to $7.4 billion. The Bloomberg Billionaires Index said the world's 500 richest people lost $553 billion so far this year. Fiona Shuru, Channel 1 Business News.
Embakasi Utawala tuko locked. Ungem Utanyahururu Kasuku Massive,
Jeshi ya Nyeri, Coast Maua na Kura kwa locked mbaya.
Kigumo Ward na ambao wote wako ndani ya KBC Channel 1.
Akulaliki Wednesday bila the rev.
Mbotela Auta Idara Kitengela.
Kiambu County 33 Pipeline Meru anawakilisha.
Rongai Maboxa pale go down. Karatina Auta Mlolongo wana enjoy show. Lare Sub County Auta Githurai 45. Lanet Barracks tuko ndani yake. Okongo Auta Carnation Maragwa Seti.
Nairobi
Fika wako locked mbaya sana.
Watu wangu wa Nakuru, Ngwaro,
Outer Gilgil, live kutoka Mazeras, Bahati Massive, Embu,
Thika Massive,
Siaya, Shikambi, Kakamega, Bungoma County,
Busia Boda, Kisumu City, Malindi yote iko ndani ya The Rave.
When I'm in Kenya, I tune in to The Rave. Get your mind brave, focus, conscious.
Kenya,
East Africa.
Right.
Keep it locked.
Stay away from them. Don't mess with your mind, man.
You seem like you're looking for something. Is it this? Remember to have a good time.
Tell us your fantasy. We'll give you the memory.
What is it? What's wrong?
It's all a mistake. Nobody.
What are you doing?
My job.
Our marriage.
What can I say? I give good wife.
Whatever you think, you remember. It's not real. This person you think you are now, it's all a lie.
Tell me what's going on.
I'm just trying to recover what's in your head.
Hello, Tiffany.
Has he taken anything?
Hapana, hakuna kitu baadhi yako nacho.
Okay, sawa. Well, Steph over here is already as stubborn as Njugunu.
Just happened to be very good at becoming rude as well.
How did you get this job? Are you family?
What family? Do you have a problem?
Why are you people shouting?
This man thinks that he can come from wherever and come and teach me how to do my job.
Jill, really?
Oh, hi.
I'm fine.
Do I know you from somewhere?
I'm your brother.
Let's finally take a look at sports. Kenyan Daniel Wanjiru, winner of the 2016 Amsterdam Marathon and the 2017 London Marathon, has been provisionally suspended by the Athletics Integrity Unit AIU for use of a prohibited substance. The 27-year-old cannot participate in any competition until a hearing has taken place.
According to Athletics Integrity Unit, Daniel Wanjiru, a two-time Prague Half Marathon winner in 2015 and 2016, is accused of breaching Article 2.2 of World Anti-Doping Rules as far as athlete blood passport is concerned, after irregularities were detected in his samples. Wanjiru holds the Amsterdam Marathon title that he claims in 2016, where he clocked 2 hours, 5 minutes and 21 seconds. His last appearance was in the 2019 London Marathon, where he finished 11th time in 2 hours, 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Wanjiru joins the list of some other Kenyan athletes who were suspended, including former marathon world record holder Wilson Kipsang, who was charged in January for whereabouts failures and tampering, both violations of the World Athletics Anti-Doping Rules. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sports.
And in other matters, the Italian Soccer League Serie A suspension has been extended to 3rd May to conform to the Italian government's lockdown measures announced on Tuesday. All sporting activities in And that does it for us for this edition of Channel 1 News Hour. We do thank you very much. Of course, our numerous audience on Facebook and YouTube, thank you very much for following us and watching the broadcast live and on the go. On behalf of the team here, my name is Edward Kabasa. Sign language interpreter has been Lense Odingo. Have yourself a very wonderful evening. Good night.
Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks.